American Natividad at Mel Lastman Square. Over the last few days, hundreds have stopped by to pay their respects and add to a growing memorial honoring those victims of the air tragedy in Iran. Everyone on board flight Ukrainian Airlines 752, including dozens of Canadians, were killed. Now the families are left with more questions than answers. Today I spoke to one person in Toronto who lost both his daughter and granddaughter on that flight.
I don't know how I can describe losing a child. Sorry.
The last few days have been a blur for Habib Hagju. His daughter, 37-year-old Saharnaz Hagju, and her 8-year-old daughter Elsa Jadidi were killed in Wednesday's plane crash. They had been in Iran on vacation and were heading home. Less than an hour before takeoff, Sahar texted her father a selfie of her and Elsa and mentioned mechanical issues causing a delay. But then
she texts me, "Okay, Daddy is good, we are taking off." And usually after that I would be relaxed, but I don't know, for some reason I started to track the flight. I couldn't track the flight.
It wasn't until later that night that he turned on the television and saw news of the crash. Hagju says since then it's been difficult for him and his family to get clear information about Sahar and Elsa.
What happened to my daughter and my granddaughter? That's all I want to know. That's the first thing. Second, I want them here. I don't want to see the news. I don't want to see that. I want them here, and I want a clear answer. That's all.
He says his son-in-law has traveled to Iran to retrieve the bodies, but has faced challenges just getting there, including canceled and rebooked flights. Once there, he'll have to provide DNA, but doesn't know how long the process will take. This afternoon, Hagju met with local Liberal MP Salma Zahid after he reached out to her last night for answers.
I agree with him that he needs to know what was the cause, and I think all of us as Canadians are grieving from coast to coast to coast.
But dealing with these events is even more challenging, as Canada has no diplomatic presence on the ground where the tragedy occurred.
It's much better when you have people on the ground, for example, especially on the consular side, to welcome families coming to return their loved ones to Canada, dealing with the Iranian bureaucracy. It's much better if you have somebody on the ground.
Dennis Horak was Canada's last diplomat in Iran before Ottawa cut off all diplomatic ties with Tehran. He says it's the role of diplomats to step in and ease the suffering of grieving families by facilitating the process of bringing their relatives home. Horak says Italy and other Canadian allies with a diplomatic presence in Iran are helping to provide consular support as Canada works to get its own representatives on the ground.
It's workable, it's manageable, working through allies, but it's much more complicated.
Little comfort for Hagju, who's still struggling to cope with the tragic loss of his daughter and granddaughter.
She was extremely bright, friendly, lovely child. Put all your differences aside, the government. This is a matter of humanity. Put your differences aside. Just for sake of us, go there, get us clear answer.
Now tonight, many people continue to stop by here, dropping off flowers, lighting candles, remembering those victims. We did speak to Hagju, and he says even though he can't speak to everyone, the outpouring of support from the community has meant a tremendous amount to him and his family.